All right, welcome everybody. My name is Calandra Waters Lake. I'm the Sustainability Director here at William & Mary, and I'm thrilled that you are able to join us for our interest meeting this fall semester. Sustainability is truly a whole institution. So we are here for students, faculty, and staff alike, and we work across all areas of the university. And that's from academics to engagement, planning, and operations. The most important and really my favorite part of the job is our connection to students. So if you are new here to William & Mary, welcome. And if you are returning, it is good to have you back. What I would like to actually do is start off with getting a sense of where people are at with sustainability. So I'm going to copy this link into the chat box. And if you will humor me oh, I think I got a period in there. But at this website, you will find a list of different pictures. And they are all sustainability related. I would love for you to pick what your favorite image is, the one that you think is really the most associated with sustainability. There are no wrong answers, but you'll notice that the images on there are numbered. So when you find the one that you think is really the most reflective of sustainability from your point of view, could you drop that number into the chat box? And I would love to see kind of where the group is at when it comes to sustainability. So you should end up at a site kind of like this, and you'll see that each of these images have numbers that are associated with them. So please head to that site because I don't want to have to scroll through it for you. But and then once you've found the one that you like, go ahead and drop it in the chat box, and I am going to visit some of these. Thank you. I'm getting lots of numbers here. So I see teen coming up a number of times. So let's scroll down to 16. All right. So Sustainable Development Goals has caught people's attention, and a couple words on why you chose that one. Anybody?
I picked 16 because I like that it's a very well-rounded picture of what sustainability should mean to us, to prioritize people as well as the environment and justice and equity in combination with that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So another one that has gotten a number of likes is the triple line. Is that wants to just say a couple about why they chose that one? Yeah, no wrong answers here.
I picked that one because I feel like it shows sustainability in a lot of different sectors in our world instead of just environmental, which is what we typically look for. And I also like that it kind of had a little bit of an allusion to business.
All right, thank you very much. So again, none of these were incorrect, but I love going through this exercise because there are a lot of different images on here. And way back when, this one would have been very popular. And sustainability is certainly about a lot of things. It can be connected to just about anything, but it is also about a lot more than recycling. And so the more recent trend, which I really appreciate, has been far more inclusive of a broad scope of sustainability. And that is how we approach sustainability here at William & Mary. So we often point towards the Sustainable Development Goals. They are not the end all be all of everything that we do, but they are an outstanding framework that really demonstrate the breadth and depth that sustainability can hold. And I love that some of the first goals on here are things that sometimes people don't automatically think about. Maybe it's the folks that are thinking most about energy and recycling. And then they see on here poverty and hunger and well-being, and it really starts a great conversation about the interconnectedness of our world. If you haven't had a chance to go to the Sustainable Development Goal website, I highly encourage you to do it. It's very user-friendly. All these tiles flip and move, and there's all kinds of information about the particular goals. Didn't mean to actually click on it. At William & Mary, this is our definition of sustainability. So that dynamic interaction between society and the environment, operating in ways that improve the well-being of all. We have this graphic on the side that shows that we are really not separate from the environment. We are part of the environment, as is everything else around us. And sometimes there's a disconnect. Sometimes we forget about that. And so a lot about sustainability is remembering how interconnected the world really is. Also, when we say something like society, that can be a very broad term. And so within that, we're including things like the economy and culture and well-being. And so for us, a sustainable world that we are aiming for is a place where there is flourishing societies, individuals, economies, and environments. So all of these things together, and that requires a recognition of that interconnectedness of us all. At William & Mary specifically, the way that we approach trying to make the world a more sustainable place and the university a more sustainable place is really by recognizing what the university's mission is. So what are we best at? And that is students, teaching, learning, research. And so we connect as much as we possibly can to those things. It's great that William & Mary will be carbon neutral by 2030, but in the grand scheme of things, we're not really doing the most good possible unless we are connecting that to our students and we are connecting that to curriculum and engagement and research. So our mission is not just to make the university as sustainable as possible, knowing that it can't be sustainable by itself. We are really lending the university's strengths towards a more sustainable world. And one of the biggest strengths that the university has are those students and the innovation within research. And so that's why we tie so much of what we do to that and include students in everything that we're doing and put a lot of effort into embedding sustainability into curriculum, research, but also your experience on campus. So we act as a hub of information and a catalyst, and we empower others at William & Mary to build sustainability into what they are doing. So I'd like to talk at more of a university level first, and then dive in the details of our office specifically. Sustainability can be kind of challenging to envision. Deciding how and what to do can be difficult, and often people forget how connected we really are and feel like they have to choose between priorities. Community is a really integral part of sustainability, and identifying your greatest power towards a sustainable world is extremely important. So since sustainability challenges can be so big, some of your greatest power lies in community. It lies in voting and talking to your representatives, talking to your neighbors, in connecting with people and yourself and nature. So some others that specialize in this are the Office of Community Engagement, the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, and the Student Diversity Center. So I encourage you to check out their resources. Community engagement has a great new set of resources around activism and advocacy, which is what this link goes to. If you haven't been to that, I really hope you check it out. I mentioned that we work with faculty in curriculum and research. So a large number of the departments on campus offer some kind of sustainability related course. And then there are a number of courses throughout the different majors and schools at William & Mary that connect to sustainability. There are also a number of research opportunities, whether they are larger research opportunities that faculty have grant money for, or research opportunities for students within the university that relate to sustainability. So part of what we do is try to empower those faculty to include sustainability in what they're doing, or maybe they're already doing something related to sustainability and they just haven't thought about it that way yet. And then we also try to track those things to make it a little bit easier for you all to find that kind of information. Another area of sustainability that folks are always excited to talk about is solar. William & Mary will be purchasing 50% of its electricity from a local solar farm come 2022. We set this agreement in place a little over a year ago, and so the solar farm is being built right now. We are the sole off-taker of that. And once that power comes online, we'll have the highest percentage of that renewable energy for any Virginia public institution. We're also working on getting solar on the campus. So the Keck Lab is an outstanding little research facility out near Matoka Lake. If you haven't been to it yet, I hope you get to go out there and meet Dr. Chambers. There will be some solar going in out there. And then we're also looking at putting in a larger array near the where you would park to get to the admissions building. So we're working to get some solar onto the campus as well. And it will be, those solar sites will be nice reminders of that larger solar farm, which the solar farm will have a big impact on our footprint in a positive way. And then the on-campus arrays will also be really good educational opportunities. So there'll be platforms that we can use to pull from that to be used in courses. We're also doing a lot in climate action. I kind of alluded to this earlier, that we have a carbon neutrality goal of 2030. And that is for William & Mary, which is the main campus in Williamsburg, and all of the graduate schools right within that campus. So the law school and School of Ed and things like that. But if you weren't aware, there's also a campus in Gloucester, about 20 minutes away. That's the Virginia Institute of Marine Science, and it houses William & Mary's Marine Science Graduate School. So it's that campus as well. So those are the two that are aiming for carbon neutrality by 2030. We set this date in partnership with UVA. Both the presidents announced at the same time collaboratively. And when they did that, we created a partnership between the two universities as well. So the two sustainability offices are sort of the facilitators of this partnership between the two universities, because 2030 is really not that far away. So we have a lot of similar challenges and an identical timeline that we are facing. So it's good to be working together on it. We also have a climate action roadmap here at William & Mary that will be launching this fall. So keep an eye out for that. Sticking with sort of university level sustainability initiatives here, there's a lot going on in transportation. We are a bicycle friendly university. Besides just how it sounds, it's an actual award that we have received. The Bike Alliance is a really good group to connect with if you have any interest at all in cycling. They are a group of faculty, students, and staff that are connected to parking services, and they will teach you how to use the fix-it stations, which are these little guys around campus, and you can hang your bike up and work on it. They also will teach you how to ride a bike if you don't know how to ride one. They organize rides around town. They're just a really great group of people to be with. So I highly recommend looking into that if you are a cyclist or just want to become one. Can't talk about sustainability without talking about waste. And so this is sort of our approach to the idea of waste. You know, recycling and composting are great, but they should really be some of the last resorts. So the first step is taking a step back and rethinking, what are you doing? How are you doing it? What are you purchasing? Then refusing things that maybe you don't need, stuff that perhaps has just become normal to accept. And so maybe you don't really have to, and turning those down, reducing your use, reusing, and then finally recycling or composting. And of course, we don't want to send stuff to the landfill. William & Mary is working to reduce our single-use plastics across campus. We've been working on this for a while, but we've also got some extra emphasis now with Governor Northam's Executive Order 77, which is speeding things along to help all state agencies reduce their single-use plastic purchasing and use across campus. There are things that you can do to help us with this, use fewer bin liners where possible, think about what you're buying, what you're using, carry your reusable cutlery and your reusable bottles, but you'll also be seeing some initiatives rolling out across the campus. You might have already seen like the canned water and things like that that are coming out in place of the single-use plastics. When you do get down to recycling, the campus has blue bins across the outdoor locations and indoor locations. We are a mixed recycling campus. That means that all of the recyclables that our provider accepts can go into the blue bin, and then it is all collected and sorted at the facility. So we take things like paper, glass, cans, and plastics 1 through 7. There are some rules to this though. So no items with food. So there are things like yogurt cups that you can recycle, but you have to clean them out, whether it's rinsing them out or taking a paper towel and wiping them out. Things with food on them or in them can contaminate the recycling load. Pizza boxes, even if they look clean, cannot be recycled because the providers are not going to go through the effort of opening boxes and inspecting them to see how dirty they might be. They just see a pizza box and assume that it's contaminated. That doesn't mean that you have to put it in the trash though, and I'll talk about that in just a second. If you've got plastic bags, old batteries or ink cartridges, those are unique items. They do not go in the blue bin, but you can recycle them at locations like SWEM Library. So I said you don't have to put your pizza box in the trash. That's because we do compost at William & Mary. We've been composting for a number of years. I want to say 2010, 2011. We have one of the oldest institutionalized composting programs in the state. And it's great because it is truly institutionalized in that it is in our dining halls. So any of the food scraps that are created through the prep of food, they all get composted. Anything that is left on, say, a tray that goes back into the dining halls is all composted. And a lot of the items that are to-go containers, I know right now we're doing a lot of to-go. You have your green reusable clamshells, but the other to-go containers are compostable as well. If you look very closely, they'll have language on them, things like that say they're compostable or they say they're eco-ware. So you can drop all of your compostable items into these green containers across campus. In addition to the dining halls having composting behind the scenes, there are about 9 different locations on the public side, so community composting options, and they all look like this. They're flip-top bins. They have some labeling on the top that say they're composting, a little bit of rules reminding you what you can and cannot put in there. If you've ever composted at home, you know that there are some kind of strict rules on how you should compost, what you should put in. Because we compost at an industrial facility, so basically all of these bins get collected and then that gets taken to Waverly, Virginia, where they have huge composting piles that get very hot and are turned and things like that. There are far fewer rules than home composting. So you can put meat, dairy, bones, any type of food. If you can eat it, it can go in this container. As well as any of the compostable items. So like I said, a lot of the to-go containers, a lot of the cutlery, there is a surprisingly large amount of compostable options on campus. And so take a second to inspect those because some of them look like plastic and they're not. So they will say compostable, they will say eco-ware, and they can go into these green containers. The pizza boxes can go into these containers because it's just cardboard with food on it that is compostable. There are still a couple rules. So stickers are not compostable. Sauce packets, we wouldn't want those in there. And then the one that is always a little tricky is wax covered paper. So wax covered paper is also not compostable. There is an interactive map of these compost bins, demonstrating where they are. A lot of them are near food trucks or dining halls where you might be getting stuff to go, but there are some others spread throughout campus if you are leaving from your dorm room or things like that. Dining Services is the one that manages the composting program. They do an outstanding job. And so I have a link on here and you'll be able to access this. Dining does such a good job that they have their own set of dining sustainability interns. So if you are interested in any of this stuff, I highly recommend going to them and we can connect you. They manage the hydroponics wall in Commons, which grows lettuce and herbs, things like that. They also manage the partnership with Kelray Farm, which is a local farm, and William & Mary manages 4 rows there. And so you can go out to Kelray and the family will, and interns will show you how to farm, how to grow things. It's also a great team building activity. So sometimes offices or student groups will sign up to go out and work on the farm. And that's what this picture is of here. If you're really big into plant forward meals, this is a really good group for you. And then all of our dining halls are also Green Restaurant certified. So if you go onto the Green Restaurant certification website, you'll be able to see them along with some of the other restaurants. And this just means that they've put emphasis on their sustainability operations and initiatives. Some other options to buy locally and seasonally are the farmers market, and that takes place every Saturday morning from 8 to 12 in Colonial Williamsburg. So really hope you get the chance to experience that as well. So that's kind of a high flyover of some of the sustainability things going on across the university. Because sustainability is so broad, there's no way for me to touch on everything. It's really connected across the whole university. So these are some other groups. Our office cannot do everything, and it's not meant to be that way. We're really meant to be a hub to empower others. And so there are a lot of other offices and student groups across the campus that are doing things in sustainability or applying that sustainability lens. So I'm going to take a turn here and go a little bit more in the direction of what William & Mary Sustainability specifically does. So some of the things that we spearhead and lead, ways that you can get involved, things along those lines. Are there any questions so far on what I've gone over? All right, feel free to jump in. Otherwise, I'll ask again towards the end. So I mentioned at the beginning that William & Mary Sustainability is a really whole institution. We also have that big emphasis on students. So everything we do, we try to include students. So that means that we have a lot of different ways to get involved. Maybe you're the type of person that really wants to spearhead an initiative, or you want to help out with something, or maybe you're just kind of interested and you want to know how to be a little more sustainable in your everyday life. There's a whole spectrum, and so we've tried to create a lot of different opportunities. So I'm going to go over some of the different ways that you can volunteer with us and others. We also have paid internships. There are ways that we can connect you with others or help fund your ideas for you to try them out and really be entrepreneurs. We connect a lot with research and provide funding for that as well. So within the Office of Sustainability, we have a number of internships, and some of them focus on communications, on programs and data, on the campus garden that's located behind DuPont. So there's a variety of opportunities. If you're an intern for the Office of Sustainability, you really get to be a full student employee and help the program move forward. You get to see all the mechanics, how it all works, work with other faculty, students, and staff in sustainability. We also have graduate assistantships in the same kind of vein. Within the Office of Sustainability is housed the Committee on Sustainability. And the Committee on Sustainability is a formal committee made up of students, faculty, and staff. It always has 2 undergraduate students and 1 graduate student that represent the student body. And it's an advisory committee, as well as having some working groups that do research and looking into pilots and things of that nature to help move university sustainability overall forward. One of the things that the Committee on Sustainability does, it decides on green fee grants. So the green fee is a unique and awesome little fee here at William & Mary. It was put in place by the student body. So in 2008, the students petitioned the Board of Visitors to have a fee added to the others that they pay, and that money only goes towards sustainability. So it funds our office, it funds initiatives. You might have seen these green fee funded tags around. It's funded bottle filling stations, all kinds of stuff. The types of proposals that the Committee on Sustainability entertains are really widespread. As long as you can relate it to sustainability in some way, shape, or form, anything can be submitted for a proposal. So again, sustainability is sort of that blend of environmental, social, and economic. So the more that you can make connections between those 3, the better. But it can be about teaching, learning, research, operations, events, all kinds of stuff. Really, the sky's the limit in some cases. If you're a student applying, you do need to have a faculty or a staff advisor on the project. And then faculty and staff can apply for grant money as well. So the proposals this year or this fall are due on October 13th. The committee accepts proposals each semester. So they'll do a call for proposals this fall, and then we'll do another one in the spring. And the way the funding cycle normally works is the proposals come in about mid-semester. They have to be reviewed, and then the committee has to vote on them. And by the time the money is available, it's usually towards the end of the semester. So just try to keep that in mind. If you need money in the middle of the semester, the green fee might not be able to act fast enough for that. So kind of think ahead to the spring. Something else that the green fee funds is summer research. So these proposals are submitted in the spring semester, but the work is done during the summer. This is for student sustainability related research. So usually students come to us with a faculty advisor already. The student has identified what kind of project that they want to work on. The summer research projects are a little more structured than a green fee grant, and they provide the student a stipend, the faculty a small award for the effort they're putting into advising, and there's the opportunity for material costs as well. And so usually we fund 1 to 2 of these a summer. The green fee is really the opportunity for students to get funds along with faculty or staff for their sustainability ideas. But we do have another mechanism for funding sustainability across the campus, and that is our Green Revolving Fund. The Revolving Fund is a loan that is provided to departments, and these are for projects that reduce greenhouse gas emissions or resource use, and they have a financial payback. So usually there's a situation where the department or office just doesn't have the upfront money to do something that makes a whole lot of sense financially and environmentally. And so the Green Revolving Fund can really step in and help make that happen and provide that loan, and then it's paid back over a certain number of years. Some of the projects done in the past have mainly focused on lighting because LEDs have a really great return on investment and only take a couple of years to pay back. So all of the lights in the parking deck, the tennis center, and swim library have been switched to LEDs through Green Revolving Fund loans. We are also the first institution, first public institution in Virginia to sign on to what's called the $1 Billion Green Challenge. And that's all about green revolving funds. And so we have committed to having $1 million in our Green Revolving Fund by 2025. And it's a really great initiative because you put money out and then it pays itself back, and then it just goes out again on the next project. So people can donate to this fund, and it really keeps their dollars turning for sustainability progress. I mentioned earlier that we work with faculty on, building sustainability into their curriculum and their research, but we also offer credit. So I teach a course for sustainability ambassadors. It's an ENSP 490 course, anywhere from 1 to 3 credits. Some of the projects are capstone eligible. It's very much an experiential learning kind of opportunity. And so I match students with local projects, whether that's on the campus or in the area, and the students really get to gain some professional experience and real world application, while that that local community organization or the campus department gets to move forward their sustainability progress. So it's a big win-win. And we've just finished our placement for this fall, but in the spring we'll have another run of advertising for the next set of projects. They vary greatly. Some of them are sort of like research, some are more like internships. Some of the examples on here that we've had are enhancing diversity in marine science, and that's with Virginia Sea Grant as the advisor. We've got one with Green Careers and the Cohen Career Center. And then this semester, we're also working with Dining Services as an advisor, and a student is looking into expanding campus composting. So lots of different types of projects. Some other things that our office spearheads is sort of like a lunch info session that we call Sustainabite. And we are continuing to hold those virtually for now. They used to be in person. The virtual format has worked out pretty well because we now have a number of community members and alumni that attend during that. And they are held from 12 to 1 p.m. On a Thursday that's usually towards the end of the month. So September 30th is our first one, and it will be on campus composting. So we'll have Dining Services come and talk, as well as the composting provider that services the campus. And they'll go over all of the do's, the don'ts, where to find things, lots of questions. People usually love to talk about composting. And since we are moving away from single-use plastics, there will be more compostables on the campus. We just envision this being more information people will be more and more interested in. Because of that single-use executive order, we also want to make sure we're getting out plenty of information about the changes that are happening across campus as we shift away from those plastics even faster. And so in October, we'll be talking about single-use plastic reduction, and that will have procurement and auxiliary services presenting. And then in November, we'll have Reverend Max Blaylock, who is going to be presenting on the connections between religion and the environment. So the topics for Sustainabite vary greatly. If you go to the website, you'll be able to see some of our previous topics. Sometimes they're a little more operationally focused. Sometimes they're more business focused. Sometimes they're more socially focused. We aim for them to connect to all three of those topics, but they vary greatly in what our experts are talking about. In order to register for this, let me do this. I've got a link right here. I'll put this in the chat. So if you want to register for these, they all have registrations that are open right now, and we will send you the links very similar to how you registered for this. One of our other initiatives is a peer educator program called Sustain. This is not a student organization. This is really the peer educator group that's associated with our office. But it is student-led, and what it does is it convenes a bunch of different types of student groups. Some of them are student orgs, some of them are maybe like student employees from other departments around a particular SDG. So they pick one SDG and they pull together some of these different groups, and then they work collaboratively on outreach. So it is all about peer education, student-to-student education. But really the goal is to show through the SDGs, because they're just such an easy framework to work around, how interconnected we really all are. So the more like different the student groups are, the better, because we can find common ground around just one SDG and then all work together to do outreach around that. One of the other things that we'll be doing this semester and into the spring is we've signed up for Bard University's worldwide Teachin on climate injustice. It's currently a partnership between Sustainability ENSP and public policy. So we're kind of the early ones planning this. The official larger planning group gets off the ground in October. So right now, we're just kind of laying the groundwork. If you're interested in participating in this, you can also sign up for that group. Some of the other things that we do, I mentioned being a hub and trying to empower others. We've put together some guides how to hold green events, because often, one of the larger footprints of a student can be the event that they plan. They have a lot of say over what type of food that they are providing, and are they buying swag, and what does that look like, and where is their event at. So the green event guide can help with some of that planning. We also have a sustainable living guide that focuses more on living on campus. And so what are some of your options? What are some of the things to think about? The Cohen Career Center has a whole site focused on green careers, and they've done lots of interviews and connections with alumni that are in green careers. So if you're looking for folks to connect with that have graduated from William & Mary into a green career, that's a good one. ASHE is the Association for the Advancement of Sustainability in Higher Education. Nice long one. Because you are a William & Mary student, you have free membership to ASHE. And so all you have to do is go to the ASHE website and sign up with your William & Mary email address. And I hope you do that, because they're a great resource. There are lots of free webinars and workshops. They have conferences and networking opportunities. They're one of the largest sustainability higher education organizations. So they're a really good group to be connected to. And then we're also members of the Post-Landfill Action Network. And so you have free access to that as well through that association. Okay, so hopefully you've gotten some kind of sense that we have a lot going on. And we try really hard to stay aware of what others are doing and pull some of those things together to help make others aware too. So we have a listserv. If you haven't already joined that, I hope you will. There's a weekly newsletter that goes out that's full of all kinds of information, everything from events to volunteer opportunities to job opportunities. It is focused on sustainability broadly. So it includes some of the things that we spearhead and do, but it also includes things from across the campus, the local community, internationally. We try to put in there what's most relevant at the time. So that's a great listserv to join. And if you email us, we can put you on there. I've also created, let's see, I'm going to drop another link in the chat for you. This is a link to a survey for volunteering. So some of the stuff I went over today, like the Teachin and the Sustain Peer Educators, we have a couple other things that I haven't mentioned just because there's so much going on that relates to climate action. All of those opportunities are listed on this volunteer list. The volunteer list is not exhaustive. It's not everything. But it's some of the larger things that we'll be focusing on this semester and some into the spring. So if you go to that, you'll be able to just kind of check off some of the things you're interested in. There's also one that's just sort of general volunteer. If you're interested in maybe helping with some outreach or welcoming students or things of that nature. What this does is get you on a list of interested people, and that way when we are looking to provide new information or we have open opportunities, you get to sort of get that firsthand rather than see it out among the other advertising opportunities. And then, of course, we're on social media. So I hope you take the opportunity to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, Twitter. William & Mary Blogs is a great place as well, where we have students write up their experiences within sustainability and share those for others to see. So I think that's pretty much it. Hopefully I haven't overwhelmed you with the amount of information. If you have any questions, well, I'll open up for like kind of Q&A in just a second, but sustain@wm.edu is our email. Feel free to email us at any time and we will get back to you with as much information as we possibly can.